Welcome to the first episode of Profs Radio, the show to A-star your business by learning from entrepreneurs' own experience how to solve problems. I'm your host, Peter Martin, director of Profs.biz, the only digital company you'll need to run your business easier, quicker and cheaper. Today, we are kicking off the show with Stephen Bates from Giraffe Financial. Good morning, Stephen. Do you want to say hi to the listeners and tell them a little bit about what you do?
Hi, Peter. Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Stephen Bates. I've run Giraffe HQ for, coming up 10 years in December. And we have two sides to our business. We have the property side and we have the financial services side. So I've been in financial services since 2001. And in 2009, I set up a lettings business. And I followed that up in 2013 by setting up my own financial services practice as well. And I've had a real interesting journey, not without its challenges. And throughout that period of time, I've really been blessed with God's provision. And my faith's a really important part of the work that I do. And I've had many challenges, Pete, during that time, and be sort of privileged to share that with you or some of those points today.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you very much for sharing part of your journey there as well. And as Stephen mentioned, we all know that life and business does present many challenges. And so is there a particular challenge that you have come across in business that you can share with all of the profs listening today?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest challenge for me was in 2008 with the last recession that we had. And I remember that I went into that period of time with a very sort of successful operation. At the time, I wasn't running my own business, but I was working within someone else's practice as a financial advisor. And we do mortgages, insurances, pensions, investments, etc. And I went from doing 20 to 30 different individual mortgage transactions each and every month with 2.5 members of staff to doing 1 or 2 in September 2008. And that trend continued for about 18 months. And that was far and away the biggest challenge that I've had to face in business. And, when the revenue really starts to fall away and the industry starts to unravel, I've never faced a challenge like that before or since. And it took every ounce of my resilience and expertise and the support of those people around me, my wife, my colleagues at the time, just to keep going. I think, that was a really, really difficult time. We got through it by being creative and a lot of hard work, because when one of the things I learned through that period of time was that, if you have one particular product which your business is so reliant upon, and when that one product, through no fault of your own, is no longer readily available, as was the case with mortgages during 2008 and 2009, you've really got to expand your product mix, work in different areas, and make sure that you're seeing the people more than ever before. And, that was really when I started to pivot the business. I know you're going to ask me in a moment how I got through that. But,
I am, yes. But before we do find out how this issue was resolved, I'd just like to take a minute to let you know of our community, Entrepreneur Profs, where you can meet other entrepreneurs and learn from them and their experience. And there's also loads of tools that we recommend there. Just go to entrepreneur.profs.biz. You can also join our free Entrepreneur Profs Facebook group, where you can get loads of support and tips there as well. So coming back to Stephen, that obviously sounds like a really tough time that you had there with the recession, and obviously that affected a lot of financial and property services. So how was it that you resolved that issue, and was there any sort of digital or software tool that enabled you to do that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I really had to analyse my client bank and see what areas of help my clients needed, because mortgage finance dried up at the time did not mean that people didn't need help. And what I'd cultivated over the previous few years was many different landlords who had taken buy-to-let mortgages with us and insurance policies and acquired properties for investment purposes. So I decided, as a small investor myself, that I should set up a letting agency. So I used exactly the same contact list and client bank, and I just became a letting agent. And it was just really a decision. One thing that I've learned through experience, Pete, is that the maybes kill business. So what I mean by that is when you're sat on the fence, that kills everything. It kills momentum, it kills enthusiasm, it kills trust and confidence. And what you really have to do, in my experience, is make a decision and go with it. So I just said, right, I'm going to do this. And for maybe 9 months before I had any staff, I was mortgage and insurance advisor, financial planner, and a letting agent. And my faith really helped me get through that period of time. And to be honest, Pete, it was just a lot of hard work. So creativity, faith, and a lot of hard work. You asked the question about software. It's interesting, back in 2009, Zoopla, as we now know, very popular property portal, was not in existence in the way that it is today. And there was a lot of consolidation in that market. And we latched onto 1 or 2 property portals, which did a lot of our marketing for us. And that was a really useful tool to help us reach out, find landlords and let properties. So that was really, really good. Something quite mainstream in property, but something that we hadn't used before. That was key.
So for those that you don't know, Zoopla is an online platform where you can search for residential and commercial property. That's the platform that Stephen's mentioned here today. So thank you very much for sharing your story with us today. And is there a tip that you might have for anybody that wants to start financial planning or improve what they are already doing?
I think you've got to love people, Pete, and genuinely want the best for them. One of the benefits of being in financial services is you get to understand money and how you can use money to further your family and business plans, your hopes and aspirations. You can be generous, you can give lots of it away, you can start foundations, you can buy houses, you can do all sorts of things. But loving people and genuinely wanting people's best interests at heart. Everyone that comes into contact with us, it's a core value here that they've got to be put in a better place than when they were from the outset. But if you don't love people, it's definitely the wrong business to be in.
That's very important. As we know, people do business with people, and its relationships are very, very crucial. So that's a really good tip. Thank you for that. And lastly, before you go, do you have your favourite piece of software or tool that you would recommend to people?
Yeah, 2 things spring to mind. In December 2017, in response to the, at the time, forthcoming General Data Protection Regulations, my team and I invested in a brand new bespoke CRM system, which has become a real bedrock to the organisation. But, on the side of that, we also use FaceTime quite a bit. Okay. So a lot of our clients are based across the United Kingdom. So though we're based in the northeast of England, we have clients in London, Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham, Nottingham, etc. And it's just impractical to get up and down the motorway as much as you would like. So we use good old FaceTime. And I find that if you can see the people, instead of just being on the phone to them, if it's not possible to be there in person, then it's a great tool that we utilise a lot. I
suppose it's going back to what you said before about loving people and able to then build that rapport and relationship with them when you're doing things face to face. So how is it that people can connect with you? And is there someone that you would recommend to come onto this podcast?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't know you were going to ask me that, Pete. That's a good one. So you can find me on Twitter, search Giraffe HQ. You can find me on LinkedIn, Stephen Bates, Director at Giraffe HQ. I also have my own podcast, which is A View from the Top, which has several episodes available to download if you've not exposed yourself to them already. In terms of who do I think you should interview? That's a real tough one, Pete. I have several heroes. One guy in particular that I think has a lot of good things to say and has had a real big social impact is a guy called Julian Pryor, who's the chief executive and founder of Action Foundation in Newcastle. And whilst Action Foundation isn't just a business, quote unquote, it's a charity, and it does a lot of social action, the entrepreneurial skills that Julian's had to utilise to get that organisation off the ground, along with his team, is certainly worth listening to. So I think he should be on your list.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all your time today. Remember, Profs, to check out our community and Facebook group. Go A-Star your business today.